We're really happy today to be able to present a special workshop for our College of Liberal Arts faculty. This is on budgeting, budgeting tips, especially for our College of Liberal Arts internal grants programs. And we have Jessica Williams, who's a pre-award specialist from SPS here, and she's going to make a presentation. And then afterwards, she's going to be available to take questions from you about your own individual questions and experiences about budgeting for your internal grants. Thanks. Jessica.
Thanks, everybody. I'm glad to see we have some folks here. I'm excited to be here as well. As you guys probably know, fall is one of the very busiest times of the year for proposal submissions, both internal and external. So a couple years ago, we were looking for some opportunities to streamline the process, because when proposal volume goes up, pre-award response times tend to go a little bit lower. So we saw this as an opportunity to put together some tools to help you create your own budget and not need to rely on us, taking maybe a 24-hour period to get back to you, so that you can continue moving on with your proposals. So thank you, Melissa, for the suggestion to do this year. What I'm going to go over today is really 3 items. There's 3 tools or documents pertaining to the budget, and we are going to look through each of those. I'll show you how to work through each of the tools, and some of the items they're going to be looking for during proposal review, so that you have them ready to go when that time comes. And then at the very end, as Melissa said, we're going to have open it up for general questions, and if you guys want some one-on-one scenarios individual to your projects, I'm more than happy to take a look at those with you as well. All right, well, I started out here. You guys know this site. The programs that we're talking about today are the Enhancing Research in the Humanities and the Arts, Exploratory Research in the Social Sciences, and the Global Synergy Research Grants. So the 3 tools and documents I'm going to be looking at today are all the same exact documents for each of these programs, regardless of what you're applying to. All right. The budget tool is the first one we're going to look at here. When we were, like I said, looking for opportunities to help out the faculty, one thing we recognized was these programs that you might be submitting to have a lot of faculty salary and graduate student support. So that's usually where the questions come as far as building your own budget. So this document here is going to help you with both of those. I have 3 tabs here: 1, salary calculations, instructions for the salary calculations, and then a little bit on travel guidance. So starting here on the first one, I'm probably going to bounce back and forth between these 2, the instructions and the actual worksheet giving you the calculations. So bear with me if I get to going too fast. Please just give me one of these and I'll slow down for you. Faculty salary up here. The instructions for the faculty salary is pretty minimal, because as you may already know, these programs don't allow academic year salary. They only allow summer salary. So the formulas that we needed in order to give you these figures are actually quite easy. Graduate support is a little different. We'll get there in a second. Yes?
So this form is online?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Here is one of the programs that we're talking about. If you click right there and right here, and you scroll down here to the bottom, the budget form, the budget spreadsheet, and the budget justification template are right there for you. No problem. All right, so you're going to see a trend here. The trend is you fill in the blue box, and the green box is going to give you your figures. So for faculty salary, you put in your current academic year salary, your 9-month salary. You put that in here, and then it will calculate over here, depending on how much salary support you need in the summer, what your salary and your fringe benefits you should be including in the budget. So you'll see here, you put in maybe 92,000. The figures over here all calculate up to that base salary. And then your fringe benefit. This is a standard benefit rate we use for all proposals, internal and external. It may not be what you actually receive from your paycheck, but that's Purdue's methodology for doing our proposal budgets. It's always an estimate. So you say you want a month's worth of salary, 11,583 would be what you would put on your budget form, and then 3,255 for your fringe benefits. And here, I'll bounce over to that really quick as well, because this is where you'll eventually take all your calculations. So you just put in like your name there. Find that, oops, wrong one, sorry. 11,583. And then you'll come down here. Dang, sorry, I keep clicking on the wrong one. And then 3,255. And you can do the same thing for you or for any co-PIs or other faculty you have. You can use the same tool and fill in their salary and fringe benefits as well.
Would you prefer that we leave the row titles as they are, or where it says new, for instance, are we supposed to?
All of that is editable based on your budget.
You would prefer that, you don't want these?
It will probably be better for the reviewers to know you and which co-PIs and what effort they're requesting. And you'll see that in the budget justification as well. Because then you can put like Jones here, and then maybe 2 weeks, and then up here 1 month. I believe that's what the reviewers will want to see. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry. Okay. All right. So that's faculty summer salary. As I mentioned, we're going to move on now to graduate support. That's a little bit more instructions and whatnot. And the reason for that is there's many more scenarios for graduate support depending on how much you need, what semester, what summer term that you might be looking for. So the instructions over here, there's quite a bit more. The first thing I want to point out is a lot of times we get questions about graduate student appointments and hourly graduates. It's, from my understanding, it's fairly rare that you have an hourly graduate because the amount of work that they're putting in on the research projects really does warrant an appointment. So you'll see here there's an explanation. It's really if you have like, I need a couple hours here, a couple hours there, maybe to do surveys. But if it's someone who's going to be working with you on the project for 10 or more hours per week on a consistent basis for maybe a month or 3 months, it really should be at an appointment level. I would encourage you, if you think you have hourly, to go on ahead and talk to your business office, because they're the ones that are going to be working with you when the grant is executed. So they can help guide you as to whether or not they think it would fall into one of those categories as well. But for this section, we're going to talk about the appointments. And you'll see down here we have different levels. Most of them are at a half-time appointment, 50%. We do see 25% here and there. 75 and full-time 100 are very rare. So I actually, on the next part that I'm going, I haven't even given that as an option. We're asking you to go on ahead and contact us, and I'll give you that contact information as well if you find yourself in that situation, because the benefits get a little different. So over here, we have, again, fill in the blue boxes, and the green boxes will give you your figures. Here I have all of the, come on, there we go. All of the different departments within CLA are listed here, so you choose which department your graduate student is going to be listed in. Yeah.
It's on the bottom. We could just leave it on.
It's on. Why are there two sociologies? Why does it say sociology 1 and 2? There's just one of us. We're in sociology.
There are two different levels of salary support. I don't think I can get to it right now, but there are two different levels of salary support, maybe depending on the experience of the graduate student. I can send.
I don't know which one to choose.
If you'd like, I'll go ahead and I will get that to you. You might already. I'll get it.
The business office will know.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So yes, you choose your department here, and as you choose your department, you'll see the base salary of the graduate student changes here. The next step would be select your level of effort for the graduate student. Again, I only have 25 and 50 listed. We'll go 50, which is the most common one. And by filling in those two, here is where you will get the monthly salary and fringe benefit rates for a student at that level. So if you need them for the full spring term, you take all of that, and that's the salary you input on your budget. And then you put all of your benefits here. Okay. And same thing for the fall semester. Summer term looks a little bit like the faculty area did, but just keep in mind, one day at 50% is really only half a day for a graduate student. So if you select 1 month's worth of salary support, that'll be 1 month at halftime. Okay. And the last section down here, this is undergraduate support and hourly grad student support. We'll click over here to the instructions. Again, very minimal because this is really just an hourly wage times a number of hours. The only thing I want to advise is there's no standard undergraduate or hourly graduate wage. You just need to make sure, obviously, that you're over minimum wage. So over here, again, blue box for your number of hours. Blue box for your hourly rate, and then blue box for your number of hours. Provides you your salary and your benefits for that student support. Any questions so far? I think this is a good spot to see if there's any questions on this tool. No?
Not a question about the tools. So that Word document that you have open down there, is that also on the templates available? Or no, that's not. There was another Word document or something that you had open. That one. So that's the budget. So that's also part of the templates that are available.
Yes.
Got it.
You're not. I don't think you're required to use this. We just provided it because it gives you something to start from, and you have to make your own.
Great. Thanks. Oh, sure.
So when we're talking about summer funding, are there particular dates that we need to pay attention to, when it can start and when it has to be finished by, and are there restrictions about how much it's spread out or anything like that?
General practice in budgeting all across pre-award is we have certain dates we have to put into the budget that you guys oftentimes see when we send it to you for review, but you actually have the full summer term to use it. It's not restricted to a certain number of days or a specific days. Okay.
Talk about the travel.
Oh yeah, I just have one thing I forgot to mention as we were going over this. I just looked down at my notes and remembered that. One thing that you will notice up here on the graduate student support, for the appointments, we don't have anything regarding graduate fee remissions listed here because College of Liberal Arts is going to be covering those for you. So you don't need to include those in your budget. Now, also keep in mind that only applies towards liberal arts graduates. If you need a graduate outside of liberal arts, again, please contact us. We'll help you come together with those figures. And transition right there. Let's go over to travel. All right, this one here, we have calculation bars across the top here and instructions down the side. The reason I put this together was because there are some travel rates that it's expected that you stay within a specific rate. There are others that it's not necessarily something that we can give you general guidance on. So I'm just going to go down the instructions a little bit here on the side first. You'll see mileage. We will be using the federal rate, which is 0.535 cents a mile, or 53.5, sorry, I said that wrong. Airfare, you use your experiences and your own research, maybe through some online sites, to come together with airfare that you might need for your project. Lodging and per diem. We do follow the General Services Administration, their standard rates, and I will show you that once I keep scrolling down here, how you can find those. It's a website, and we just stick in the city and the state, and it'll give you some guidance. And then down here, other, this again goes by your research experiences, ground transportation, maybe excess baggage, things along those lines. So those are the main categories we look at for travel. Down here are the two sites that I had mentioned. We have one that is for domestic travel and one that is for international travel. So you can click right here. And choose your state, your city, and they will show you here for each month within the 12-month period what we're looking at as the maximum lodging and the maximum per diem rate. So you can find the rates here, and then we'll now go back to the spreadsheet and input those in there. I'm going to go with 204 and 69. Okay. So up here at the top, we'll say 100 miles in mileage, because we all know that Lafayette doesn't have an airport. We will put 400 for your airfare through your research, 207 for your lodging rate. And I do have a 10% tax kind of built in here. It's obviously going to be different depending on your destination, but again, this is an estimate, and I think a good place to start. We'll go 3 nights. Your per diem rate, 3 days, and $25 for excess baggage. And once you fill in, oh, I don't know what that, sorry about that. Once you fill in again the blue boxes, your total amount per trip, per traveler, will be $1,400.
Yeah, I do have a question now. So,
Yeah.
if you're planning to use all of the grant to actually be outside of the country, then because in this it assumes like you do like a month or a month and a half of work, but you travel like 3 days or a week. But if you actually want to do all of the research and the writing your project outside, then the budget will really skyrocket. And I don't know, maybe that will be, how does it work? Because then your budget will be so high, right? I mean, the request will be very, very high. I don't know if that will affect our ability to compete with other projects, you know, so I don't know if it makes sense what I'm trying
I'll
to
let you take
ask.
this one.
Yeah.
So, Alina, you raised a couple of questions there. What you should do is be honest and realistic about the cost of doing the research. You do not have to use the federally approved per diem amounts if you can do it less expensively.
Okay.
So if you have an Airbnb or a place to stay and you don't need a $200 a night hotel, please don't budget for it.
Okay.
Please give us the real
Right.
cost of doing the
So
work.
that's
And that will allow us to evaluate because it will go to faculty reviewers who could have their own personal reactions to a very high budget if they think it's not realistic. And we want you to be exercising your best judgment in the real and most cost-effective way of doing the work.
So how would you complete the worksheet then if you're not using those federal? Because since we're gonna, I mean, since we're already also asking for salaries, so then that kind of like balances out all the expenses. You know, I'm thinking I usually do my research in Spain, and I know it is expensive. So that when I apply for grants, I'm actually asking for money to support myself there. But now having the salary is already kind of like.
And the figures that I put in here and the figures we saw on those websites, those are the maximum allowable. You're not required to use the full maximum. So say, you know, the lodging rate in that area, $207 a night was the maximum, but you know you can get somewhere for $175. You just simply put $175 into the worksheet.
So
And
you
it'll
still have to put, so if you stay there for 45 days, you just figure out how much it will cost, then you divide, and then you put it in there.
Well, and you
So-
don't have to submit this with your proposal. This is just to help you come to figures. So if you know that you can get something for $300 for the whole month, you don't even need to use this.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. Sorry, I guess I should have mentioned that in the beginning.
I have one more follow-up. If you're requesting summer salary and then you're going to be overseas for a month, that same month that you're also receiving summer salary, I don't think many reviewers would think it would be reasonable to also be requesting a meal rate on top of a salary rate for a place you're living for a month. You should be requesting a meal rate when you're traveling away from your home. If you're making your home in another place, we assume you're going to use your salary to pay for your food.
Okay, so that's exactly what I wanted to know, because I don't wanna have a
Yeah.
totally unreasonable. Is there anybody that can actually take a look at this before, or?
You can feel free to be in touch with me, and I just give you my best judgment. I'm not. It's going to go to faculty reviewers.
Because, okay.
Any other questions on travel here? Okay. All right, I'm going to move back to the budget form that we started on a little bit earlier. I didn't follow every time we went through, but once you use the tools, if you need them to calculate out your travel and your salary and benefits, you can bring them over here and input. We've got autofill. I'm not going to truly calculate that. We'll say 1,500. Oops. This will help add straight down through. You take your travel budget, your total 5,200 maybe. You know, you have the scientific knowledge to know what you need to request for your budget. So the rest of the categories listed here, this is just what you come together with as you're putting your proposal together. So say that's all we have in the budget. We come down here, you have a total. The next thing you need to do is look to make sure your total is within the parameters. I know each of the programs has a budget range of what you can put into the budget. And here, this gives you a total, and you know whether or not you're within that. So if not, then you go back and you start tweaking and making cuts where you think is most appropriate. Okay. All right. Well, once you have your final budget, the next step is to go to the budget justification. And this template here, you guys may have already seen this before. We use this template for many sponsors, internal and external. It's really just a jumping off point. It's really guidance to help you know what information you should be including in here. And the purpose of this is to explain why this is needed to accomplish your project. So it's a narrative to go along with the budget form that you fill out. We've got a standard blurb up here that we put with all of our proposals that go outside of Purdue, or we aim to, depending on the sponsor, and it just gives a little bit more background information for our salary calculations. I'm not sure if it's necessarily required for these, but it's maybe just good practice in general proposal knowledge that you'll see this. So then you list each person, their level of effort, and their duties, what their responsibilities are going to be on the project. For fringe benefits, you can delete what you don't need here. If it's just you can delete everything but faculty. And then again down here, you've got your other categories, consultants, travel, supplies, things along those lines. Again, just a description of what you will be purchasing and why. Like maybe where you're traveling, the supplies that you'll need to accomplish your project. I did leave this in here. I left grad fee remissions in here, but you'll see it's only, again, for the non-CLA grads, only if you're looking for a graduate student outside of the college. And when you've filled out what you need to, you can go on ahead and delete everything else. I'm sure the reviewers will appreciate that they don't have to look through the categories that you didn't need any information for. Okay. And then when you're up here, I'm sorry, I meant to say this before, up here with the personnel, just remember your level of effort. You can get that information from the budget spreadsheet tool. Okay. And in a nutshell, that's what I have to present today. So I'll open it back up for questions. I just want to close again. There is support from our office still available. You'll see on the instruction pages for the budget tool down here at the very bottom, Central Pre-Award at purdue.edu. That's also the email address included in each of the program guidelines. So if you have questions, you can send an email to us there, and whatever specialist is in the best position to get back to you the quickest will be in touch and help you out.
Can we request certain specialists? I only ask that because I'm already working with one on one project.
Yeah.
It'd be nice because she knows somewhat of what I'm doing.
No, that's perfectly fine. We're always open to you guys wanting to work with a specific specialist. We'll definitely help you. If our workload for some reason doesn't allow it, we'll make sure somebody else takes care of you. I don't know, a lot of the specialists, this was really kind of hold close together with a certain group of specialists prior to last year. So that specialist may not be super familiar with this call, but they can always come and ask me, I know, and I'll let them know that as well, that I can be the point of contact within our department.
I know that the enhancing and the other E1, exploring allow for or central pre-award. Does the new Create award as well?
Create is a new program that you're putting out.
Okay, I was gonna say that's one I hadn't heard of.
It will use the same format.
And then, so does that mean that I can request help with that one? Can I request help with that one?
Certainly, and
Okay.
if we need to tweak these tools for that one, because that's one thing that you'll see with the budget spreadsheet I put on there, please only use for this specific program because it has strict start and end dates, so we know when inflation hits and things along those lines. I can work and maybe put
It'll be a
together.
little different, yeah.
Yeah, I can work and put together something that has different formulas for that one. So yeah, just let me know. You're welcome.
Thank you. Is Engage going to be the same as Create? No, totally
No.
different. Okay, all right. These are all brand new.
I was gonna say, I'm learning something new.
We're fortunate enough to have had more provost support for some new programs. So Engage is going to be run through the departments. Your department head is your point of contact for Engage and for the To Teach.
Yes.
Create is going to run from my office, and it's going to run once a semester. And at the end of the semester, then the funds would be made available to awardees. So that's going to have a November 1st deadline. The awards will go out in December, and the money should be available January 1. And that's for artistic presentation and preparation of creative work.
Okay.
Thank you. I just had another question about the dates for the other awards. So this indicates, the deadline for the submission. I was wondering if you could tell us some of those other important dates, like when the awards are generally announced, and with respect to the budget also, I imagine there are some parameters about when the money should be spent.
I think this is almost joint.
So you just received an email about half an hour ago from me telling you the fall deadlines are all in October for these programs. For the exploratory social sciences, the enhancing humanities and arts are mid-October. The global synergy comes a little bit earlier. I think it's October 11th for faculty. It's on the website. The calendar sheet that is here will give you those deadlines, as well as each page for each program announcement will give you those deadlines. The general pattern is that these go out to faculty review, and on the calendar it does give you an approximate expectation of when the reviews should be done. However, after that point, we still need to have the dean make the awards, and the award letters need to go out. The EVPRP funded programs are meant to have a start date of January 1, and they're meant to go through the year and end by December 30th of each year. That's the intention for those programs. Is that what you need?
I'm sorry, I have another question about the enhanced research in the humanities. So you can actually be working on a particular project during the summer, but you can travel before, after also the summer. You can use some money for.
Oh,
How
Let me rephrase that question. So the question was budgeting for these programs for the Enhancing Humanities or the Exploratory Social Sciences. You are allowed to have expenses anytime during that year. So an award will be made in December of 2017. The start date is January 1, and you may use the funds for any of your expenses during that year and before December 30th.
And follow up. So in your proposal, you like I would. This is what I do in any grant proposal. It's very specific to the humanities, and this is a little bit different. I'm not used to doing this kind of stuff. But so you will say, okay, I'm going to go to this archive in X place in the spring break. Then I'm going to work on this, and then I'm going to come back and do this. So you want to be very specific as to how you're going to use some money. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, provide all of those details in the budget justification.
In the budget, not in the proposal.
Also, you can also explain it in the description, sort of have a section on activities, and you can do a calendar of activities if you'd like. But in the budget justification, you should also then list each of those trips.
Should summer salary be put in the narrative? Should summer salary be put in the narrative, or is it okay?
I
During the
would just-
timeline, right? Probably. Great.
And I would just say to that, you know, if you're running low on space, the budget justification allows you that extra space.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? You're all ready to go race out and do it now? All right. I guess we'll call it to a close then. Thanks very much. Thank you, Jessica. We really appreciate your time with us.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Jessica, what's your last name and your email? I'm sorry.
I will.
Oh, wait, I did write that. Jessica Williams.
I'm not sure if he's still recording or not. It's okay. No, it's fine.
I'll look you up.
No. I will tell you. I think he's good.
Write it
It's- you know, and I'm out
I'm
of.
not putting in a proposal
Oh,
this
gosh.
term. I'm just, it's good to have someone,
Oh, this is hard. This is a 1,
okay,
2,
It might just be you and me.
1, 2, 8, 6. I don't know why
that's weird.
1, 2, 5, 6 came up, and then obviously at Purdue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, that's fine. I had
Yes, and so we just.
I hate to get that.
my cards. I had a change in position this last year, so my cards have an old phone number and an old title on it. I was like, I don't have anything to give out.
We can find each other. It's
Oh,
just-
yeah,
And
absolutely.
again, I'm not doing one of these
Mhm.
things, but last year I put in for a grant with a friend, and we were like scrambling because we'd never done this before. and It was
Yes.
just a big disaster. So I told myself, I'm going to cover this for future reference. So
Alrighty.
it's good to have a contact.
No, absolutely. And like I said, especially for external programs, we are here to help you because we want to make sure the budget that's going in is true and accurate, because we have seen where faculty think they have to do it on their own, and then they do it on their own, and maybe they're able to submit. And then when the award comes in, we find out maybe indirect costs weren't put in correctly or fringe benefits weren't. And unfortunately, that means you might end up with an award and you don't have enough funds to do what you want. So yes, please, I mean, we're looking for opportunities like this where you guys, where it's maybe a little bit, there's no indirect costs involved. There's no,
There is no indirect in this.
No, there's no
Okay,
indirect
good.
cost.
You said indirect, I'm like, oh no.
No. No, that's why, for these types of situations, we found it with a lot of the internal programs across the university. We're trying to do this where we give you guys what you need to do it on your own, and you don't have to come through us, but we're still here to help if you need it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.